Hello fellow 3D enthusiast, my name is Ian, and today I wanted to share with you a really simple material setup to get this really cool thermal imaging effect. And you can actually take this material and pretty much apply it to any character you please, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm starting with this character here, and I've just added this in with the MB Lab, I think it's Manuel Bastoni? Anyways, you can go to the link here to download that probably. I don't know, I've had this add-on forever, and it's really useful if you just want to download an elf real quick. But we're going to be creating this material and applying it to this guy. So let's just go new here. I've turned my timeline into a shading editor, just so you're aware. And here we've got the big principal node and the material output. But what we're going to do is actually just delete that. Go Shift A, add in a shader and emission. Let's just drop that in and plug that into surface. So the idea with this is we want the center of things to be red and the outside to be blue. So a good way to get something that can distinguish between the center and the outside of things is if we go Shift A, input, and use a Fresnel node. Now I found setting this to about a 1.32 is a good setting, and if we go Control and Shift and click that, if you have Node Wrangler enabled, that makes it so you can just view the node. If we take a look here, we get a nice gradient between like the outside and the inside, and we can work pretty well with this, I'd say. So if we want to hook up the emission shader, once again, Control Shift and left mouse button. There we go, nice and bright. Now I'm just going to connect these with a color ramp. So I'm going to go Shift A, Converter, and color ramp. If we plug the factor into here, and then the color into here on the emission, we've got just the Fresnel node coming through, which is great. But we don't want this to be black in the middle. We want it to be red. So I'm going to take this value up and then just make it a straight red there. And over here on this side, we want a blue. So I'm just going to drag that over to blue. There we go. And instead of purple in the middle, I'd kind of like it to be more of a green color. So I'm just going to drag that over to green here. Cool. Now this is alright if he has a ridiculously high fever, but I think we're probably going to want to move in the values on the sides a little bit. So I'm going to crank up the red just a tiny bit here, and then just really crunch the green right up to that. That might actually still be too much, so let's go something like this. We want there to be just a little bit of red visible, and then you got the orange and the green and everything going on. And I'd really like this blue to show up a little bit more, so I'm just going to torque that up all the way over here. I think this is finally pretty good. So I've got the green at a value of 0.028, and then the 9 is this 0.019. And I find that works pretty well. And the blue is just crunched up there, and we've got this really nice simple effect. Now the super cool thing about this is it works on any character pretty much. Once you start adding in clothes, it can get a little bit crazy, but if we just take this character I downloaded from Ian Hubert's Patreon, and we just select it and select a guy with the material, and I'll go Control L and materials. That will duplicate the material from this guy to this person, and if we go render view, you can see, hey, this works pretty well on any model you'd have. And so I'd say that's about it for this tutorial. So if you found this useful, let me know in a comment below. You can also request tutorials down there. I have been known from time to time to listen to people. And hey, I recommend you actually go ahead and try this out for yourself, just to help lock in the knowledge, because next week we're actually going to be building on this, and we're going to be putting together a pretty cool shot. Now if you don't want to miss this tutorial, there's a link in the description that says 5 tips for integrating CG into live action, and when you click this link, it'll actually take you to an email list sign up. And the first thing I send you is a tutorial on how to integrate CG objects into live action footage. But then after that, every week, when I upload a tutorial, I just mail out to that list so that you can keep up to date. But hey, I hope you have an excellent day, and cheers!